Season 3 opens with Negan handing Maggie a knife and practically begging her to finish what she started. He counts down. Maggie grips the blade, and for a few seconds, it looks like their story could end right there. But before the episode ends, Maggie will say 3 words Negan never expected. I need you. Not, I forgive you. Not, I trust you. That difference matters. Those words send them into a walker-infested mission to save a premature baby Negan believes is already doomed. Does Maggie finally see Negan as a man, or has she found a more honest way to use him? And what does the Croat's death reveal about Negan's old system? Let's break down Dead City Season 3, Episode 1. Manhattan looks controlled only from a distance. New Babylon soldiers hang wanted posters, but the gunfire, walkers, and ruined streets tell the truth. The city has new rulers, not peace. Away from the streets, Maggie is digging a grave for Ginny. Negan finds her, and grief turns into one of their ugliest arguments in years. Ginny was Negan's responsibility. Maggie says she buried her because he is still recovering from the knife wound she gave him. The explanation opens every wound at once. He reminds Maggie that she lied to him, handed him to the Dama, and then tried to kill him. Maggie apologizes and says they cannot keep reopening damage that can never be undone. But Negan believes Maggie will never allow him to become anything beyond the man who murdered Glenn. So he hands her the knife, offers her a clean slate, and starts counting down from 10. It is self-hatred disguised as a dare. Kill him, or stop making him carry every piece of pain she cannot release. Maggie is angry enough to consider it, but by the end, she will need him. Whether need is the beginning of trust or another form of dependence becomes the episode's real question. Before the countdown can settle anything, Renata and Luis step out of the trees and pull Maggie and Negan into a much bigger emergency. Renata and Luis are heading to the cathedral for a methane tank. A woman in their family is delivering 2 months early, and without an incubator, the baby has almost no chance. They believe Negan is the Croat's second in command. But New Babylon controls the tanks now, and Negan warns that anyone approaching the cathedral will be hanged. Renata does not care. Her family is running out of time. Then Hershel's voice cuts through the street. Maggie answers, and an enormous explosion destroys the methane tanks before she can reach him. Walkers flood toward the blast, and here is where Dead City gets smart. It forces Maggie and Negan to do physically what they refuse to do emotionally: work together. Bound, injured, and surrounded, they fight like people who understand each other's instincts. They can barely speak without attacking each other, but in combat, they move like a team. Renata refuses to abandon Luis, bringing them face to face with the Croat. He admits he destroyed the tanks rather than let New Babylon claim his work. Luis demands another one. The Croat says there is no time. Then Renata tells him why they need it. A baby is coming. The story jumps back to the day the Croat shattered Renata's family. They are celebrating Yvette's pregnancy when he arrives. He calls his system protection, but under the Dama's vision, every person must prove useful. Renata says she trained people in emergency medicine. The Croat tests that claim by stabbing their uncle Ramon and ordering Chucho to save him. Chucho cannot, so the Croat kills him too. Then he explains that his mentor taught him to kill the right person at the right time so everyone else falls in line. That mentor was Negan. My harsher read is this: the Croat is not merely Negan without a leash. He is proof that Negan's old system was never as controlled as Negan wants to remember it. Negan told himself theatrical violence created order. The Croat shows what that logic becomes once the person using it stops pretending there is a line he will not cross. Renata finally pushes him back by threatening to release methane and kill everyone, including herself. She saves the survivors, but that day follows the family into the present. So is the Croat only a monster, or the clearest reflection of the man Negan used to be? Hold that thought, because his death makes the question harder. Back in the present, Maggie finally gets a quiet moment with Hershel, and this becomes the emotional center of the episode. Hershel admits that the Dama fed his anger until she convinced him that hurting Maggie was not enough. He had to kill her. Maggie understands because manipulation is the Dama's real weapon. She identifies what a person needs most, then uses that need to reshape them. Hershel also says what Maggie has needed to hear. She was not always there, but she protected him and gave him a life, and he does not want to waste that life being angry anymore. Maggie says she does not either. Hershel is not erasing the damage. He is deciding it will not control what he does next. Without this conversation, Maggie never tells Negan she needs him. Keep that in mind, because what comes next looks like forgiveness from a distance, but maybe something less comfortable. The Croat reveals that one prototype methane tank survived, along with plans to build more. To him, this means electricity, crops, hunting, and an island strong enough to survive. Renata and Luis do not care about an empire. They are trying to save one child. Negan thinks the mission is insanity. The baby is dangerously early, the city is full of walkers, and Hope has punished everyone in that room before. So he hides in Mason Dillard's bizarre bar, where bodies feed maggots, maggots feed frogs, and frogs feed turkeys. It is disgusting, and somehow the episode's closest thing to a vacation. Yes, the sequence is absurd. It also works, because it reveals what Negan is doing. If the baby is already doomed, he does not have to risk caring whether it lives. While Negan hides from Hope, Renata treats the Croat's infected wound. Hershel cannot understand why she would help the man who murdered her family. Renata says she has not forgiven him. She still thinks about making him suffer. But her father taught her that people eventually have to choose between the fight and the light. Choosing the light is not one heroic decision. It is a choice she has to keep making, especially when revenge would feel easier. That idea connects the episode. Hershel releases his anger, Renata keeps the Croat alive, and Maggie must decide whether choosing Negan is genuinely the light, or simply a smarter version of the fight. When the Croat's condition gets worse, the group needs another fighter. Maggie goes to Dillard's bar and asks Negan to come back. He refuses. He believes the mission ends with a dead child, and he does not want to watch another hopeful plan collapse. Then Maggie says it plainly, "I need you." And this is the line I think matters more than any apology in the episode. Maggie does not say she trusts him. She says he is necessary. She needs the man standing in front of her, because she has Hershel back and needs proof things can still work out. Negan says they cannot. Maggie says without him, he may be right. My read is that this is strategic trust, not forgiveness. Maggie believes Negan will do the right thing now, even if she has not decided whether he deserves a place in her life. That is enough to bring him back. But before the baby can live, the Croat has to face the man who taught him how to rule. The group pushes through the walkers, while the Croat struggles to guide them toward the prototype. He is fading fast. Maggie invokes his mother and the legacy he is about to lose. Negan understands the clue, but the Croat collapses before he can finish the journey. In his final moments, the Croat admits the truth he resisted for years. He was arrogant enough to think he could lead the one man who taught him how. Negan holds him as he dies. The Croat's death matters because Negan is watching one of the last products of his old world die in his arms. The Croat made his own choices, but his death forces Negan to confront what his influence created. Negan is not only mourning a follower, he is mourning the damage left behind by the man he used to be. The others recover the prototype and race it to the hospital. Solmari begins setting it up while Renata handles the delivery. But the tank still needs methane, forcing Luis back into the building. There he finds the reanimated Chucho. Luis has already watched his brother die once. Now he has to put him down so the child Chucho never got to meet can live. The machine powers on. The baby cries. It is a small sound, but it answers Negan's argument. Hope is dangerous. Hope can fail. Hope can destroy people when they build everything around it. But sometimes hope survives, and refusing to try would have been the greater loss. At the celebration, Maggie first suggests that the Bricks and Renata's people could work together. Renata pushes the idea further. Maggie could bring her entire community to Manhattan. The Croat was right about one thing. The island can become a fortress, but it needs leadership that protects people without owning them. Maggie does not accept immediately, but she does not reject the idea either. Manhattan may become the fresh start she and Hershel have been searching for. Then Negan tries to leave without saying goodbye. Maggie stops him and thanks him. He admits that at Ginny's grave he was not truly angry because Maggie tried to kill him. He was angry because she did not finish the job. Maggie says she stopped because somewhere inside she knew he was still capable of doing what he did today. That is the answer the knife scene was waiting for. This is not forgiveness. Glenn is not forgotten. It is evidence. Maggie is finally judging Negan by what he does now without pretending what he did before disappeared. She smiles. They are not friends, and I do not think the episode wants us to call them friends. But they are no longer defined only by what they did to each other. Maggie reveals that she and Hershel may stay in Manhattan. When Negan asks whether she really believes she can change the city, Maggie answers, "Once we find the Dhamma, who's left to stop us?" For one moment, it sounds like a victory statement. Then the final scene shows why that confidence may be premature. The Dhamma finds wounded survivors in the ruins of Midtown. She tells them to rest, heal, and help her gather the others. To her, broken people are not casualties. They are the foundation of the next empire. So what does the Dead City Season 3 Episode 1 ending mean? It sets up two competing visions for Manhattan. Maggie and Renata want a community built on choice. The Dhamma wants an empire built from pain. Both sides are gathering survivors. Both see Manhattan as the beginning of something larger, and both now have a reason to destroy the other. As a premiere, Trillium is not flawless. The prototype arrives exactly when the plot needs it, and Dillard's detour will either delight viewers or make them wonder what show they are watching. But emotionally, the episode works because nearly every decision asks the same question. Do these people keep feeding the fight, or do they choose the light? Here is where I land. The premiere's best idea is not that Maggie trusts Negan. It is that she finally trusts the evidence in front of her more than the hatred she has carried for years. That is why the premiere lands around an 8 out of 10 for me. It closes the Croat's story with meaning and turns the baby into a symbol of the future everyone wants to control. But the real test starts now. The Croat is dead, the methane network may survive, and Maggie may move the bricks to Manhattan. Meanwhile, the Dhamma has soldiers, a cause, and a reason to attack. So the biggest question going into Episode 2 is not whether Maggie and Negan can find the Dhamma. It is whether their new alliance survives once she forces them to confront the worst parts of each other again. So where do you land? Does Maggie trust Negan, or is she building a city that needs the weapon only he can be? Drop your take below, because those are two very different futures.